Hello and welcome to this chess video. I'm going to be looking at the playoff at the Isle of Man tournament, and we had some surprising results there, because the top two players after the 9 rounds, while they are very strong, were Wojtaszek and Naiditsch. They finished with 7 points out of 9, and this was the strongest open tournament of the year, and they left behind players such as Kramnik, Grishuk, Nakamura, Wang Hao, Anish, Maxim Vasilagraf, Wishy Anand. A fantastically strong tournament. So a great accomplishment by Naiditsch and Wojtaszek. They finished top 2 and they had to play a blitz playoff match to decide the winner. And we are going to have a look at that match, and this is the first game. And Wojtaszek had white pieces and he opened with d4. Now this was a very exciting game. Swinging back and forth. We have the King's Indian defense after g6, Nf3 Bg7, and white fianchettos. So of course black is fianchetting, but this is called the fianchetto variation. One's white fianchettos. d6, which makes it a King's Indian. Now you could have played d5 and do it transposing into a Grunfeld. So the placement of the pawn, the d pawn, dictates if we have a Grunfeld or a King's Indian. Knight c3, knight b to d7. One of the normal moves for the knight and King's Indian. The bishop. It remains to be seen what we do with this bishop, so no worries that we're blocking it for now, because black has to get ready at some point to challenge in the center, and he does with e5. e4, rook to e8, bishop to e3, and a5, which according to my database is a novelty. Knight g4 had been played before in this position, and now Wojtaszek took on e5. He played queen c2, c6 by Naiditsch. A fairly standard move in the King's Indian. It's more important to cover d square than it's bad to leave behind some weaknesses, because they're easily covered. But here Wojtaszek makes a mistake. He plays c5, and often this is a good idea in the King's Indian if you can follow it up with a move such as knight d2, knight c4, and try to play for some domination on the d6 square. Play rook d1, place a knight on d6 at some point, and you have a good position. The problem here is that black can play knight c4, and this was a 5-2 blitz game, 5 minutes with a 2-second increment. Now you can't allow black to take on e3, because, well, you lose the bishop pair, and if you have to take with the f pawn, that's catastrophic. Protecting the bishop and taking with a piece is also bad, and turns out this pawn is going to be lost. So here, Wojtaszek had to cut his losses. He played bishop g5, f6, the bishop goes back to d2. We already mentioned that taking on e3, f takes e3 is a horrible pawn structure. We can't allow that, and the c5 pawn falls in that variation as well. So white keeps the bishop pair, but remember, this is a blitz game, so anything can happen. Rook a to d1, it's only a pawn. Queen e7, queen d3 was also an option. h3, kicking back the knight, goes to h6, and now bishop e3. And this is what was missing from the c5 move earlier. If white had played h3 earlier, then the knight on d4 would not have been a problem, and he could have played c5. But finally now he has a secure bishop on e3, but at the cost of a pawn, which is a bit too much. Bishop to f8, and now we also have this nicely placed knight, so Wojtaszek tries to exchange the knights. Knight takes, and queen to b4. Black is up a pawn, so why not trade? White doesn't want for the same reasons. Bishop to e6, and now we're simply threatening to win the pawn here, so we have to play a3. Again offering the trade, and white of course refuses. Knight f7. This knight on f7, okay, it's more centralized than on h6, and often it's controllers on key squares. Knight d2, hitting the queen goes back, and now a4. So black is up a pawn, and he has somewhat of a clamp now also on the queen side with this pawn lever here. or this pawn here on a4. Bishop to f5. Black doesn't mind b5 here. Queen c2, c5, and now he's just pushing forward. Rook c1, c4, a big clamp on the queen side. And remember, black is up a pawn. Knight b8, b1, trying to reroute the knight. Okay, it's a better square on c3, so white has to try something, but now queen c8. Knight c3, hitting the pawn on b5. Black protects it, rook b8. And now rook cd1. White probably had to play h4. I'm not sure if it was a sacrifice, but this loses the pawn on h3, so black is now 2 pawns up. Knight d5. Hitting the pawn on f6, which black protects with king to g7. Queen e2, and now a trade on f1. Black should be winning here, up 2 pawns. King to g2. Bishop takes on e3. Queen takes. And here, black probably had to get ready for actions with a move like queen c6. Centralizing the rooks, and there shouldn't be any problems. He played h5, but let's see a sample line. In the game, h5, f4 happened, and white is all of a sudden getting some counterplay on the f file. So queen c6 here was the way to go. If f4, you centralize the rooks, and if you now take, you can just take on f6. And the rook is hanging here. Black doesn't mind 2 rooks for the queen here. He will be up a pawn. This should be winning for black. But h5 was played. Now f4. And here still queen c6 was the move, but it's a little bit more complicated. He played queen c4, put the queen here. But queen c6 was the way to go. It's a bit more complicated because now you have to play f5 to avoid the trouble on the f file. And after he takes f5, rook takes e5. And it turns out, you know, with the attack on the queen and the attack on the knight and the pawn, black is better here. But after f4 and queen to g4, turns out that white is back on the game. And after f takes e5, rook takes e5, he correctly played knight takes f6. Knight is retreated, and yeah, what that's it. Played the normal move here, knight to d7, which looks good because, well, you're hitting the 2 rooks here, and you're gonna win some material here. However, turns out that rook to d7 would have been close to winning. It's not completely clear why this is so good, but it turns out that black will just run out of moves. Rook a7, okay, knight d7 if you want. And it's not so easy to find the move for black here. Let's say he tries to temporize, queen d6. We can just build up the position, queen to f4. Let's say we do nothing. And then at some stage we just enter the position like d7. And you can't even take here because knight takes f8, and we take on e6 with jack. So we just built up on the f file, and the pressure with this pin and this pin eventually becomes too much. But okay, this was a blitz game, so knight d7 is a normal looking move, and that's what he played. Rook takes e4. Some complications. The problem with this is that white has the Swissian check, queen to c3. King h6. He took the rook on b8. Rook to e2 check. Black is trying to get some counterplay. He's down a rook all of a sudden. But it's not clear, and it is a blitz game. Let me remind you once again. Rook f2, queen e4 check. Okay, king to g1. White seems to have everything under control. And now rook e3. And, well, remarkably, queen d2, which was played, is a big blunder. And queen d4 would have won the game. White is up a rook. He's threatening a queen trade. He's threatening the knight as well. And if you play a move like rook takes d3, I play king h2. You have to trade queens. I'm attacking your rook, attacking your knight. Nothing to be done. So queen d2 looks natural, but knight g5 unpins and threatens knight to h3. And this is just a remarkable position. Queen d6. And now black is moving in. Knight h3 check. King h2. And would you believe it? Black is winning here. He's already up 2 pawns, and it turns out his king is not in grave danger, or at least it shouldn't be. After queen f8 check, he played correctly king g5. queen d8, and here, yeah, queen e7 is a very good move here, and black is, yeah, just winning. Rook d5 check. The king is actually safe here. There's no way to continue. Queen c8, just king f3. Black has the material and actually the more dangerous attack. However, instead of queen e7, he played king to g4. And after rook d4, he lost his queen. He played king f3 and lost the king. Lost the queen. Remarkably, black can play rook e2 here, and it's a draw. Just to show you how swingy this game was, it just went back and forth. After rook e2, if you, well, there are many lines, but okay, taking the queen looks like the natural move, but it turns out this is a draw. King g1, we can just start checking. Rook e1 check. King g2 and check. And if you go to f1, I take on g3, and yeah, this is just a bad version for white. He might even risk losing here. And there's also a line here, instead of king to g1, which you looked at here, king g1, there's also king h1, but here you risk losing after g5. Then we take on g3, and the white king is just so bad, and the knight is so far away that black is actually winning here. There's a quick sample line, like queen c6, knight c6. The queen has to stay on d5 to cover g2, otherwise it's checkmate. So we just calmly play rook takes b2. This is a remarkable position. Okay, knight d4, looks, let's bring the knight, but simply rook d2. And now I'm trying to take, and knight e2 check for king, the queen and the king. Okay, what about knight e5? Well then, g4. And how do you improve? Let's say queen c6, but now I can actually start checking and winning the knight on e5 eventually. Rook check and rook e4, and this is winning. A remarkable line. Instead, in the game, he didn't find rook e2, he played king to f3. And now, queen f6 check, king e2, king to g2, and now the final blunder, and usually in chess the final blunder loses, and after knight d3, queen f3 check, picks up the rook. So that was game 1. A win by Wojtaszek, so a lot of work to do for Naiditsch. 2-game match, he has to win game 2. Stay tuned.